Welcome to the Revenue Room by Ameta. Each week in the Revenue Room, we present a solution to help you earn more bigger jobs and help you sell our product a little bit more better. To share practical solutions to help you as security professionals win more projects in the end and maximize all your profits. So if you're an installer, integrator, reseller, or security, general dealer, this session is designed for you. All right, let's start with this question. What's the limitation of traditional cameras? When you walk onto a job site, be it parking lots, warehouses, or retail entrance, covering important areas and blind spots usually means multiple cameras. That means more cabling, more installation time, more ports on the recorder, and more system complexity. And even with all that, there are often blind spots. Plus, all those camera views get confusing and decrease overall situational awareness. Your clients don't want a security view that is chaotic or confusing. That's where panoramic cameras come in. Next slide, please. A panoramic camera is designed to capture a wide area using multiple sensors or specialized lenses. There are three common types of installers that everyone should understand. Let's start with 180 panoramic cameras. These are really versatile, and I think of them as a regular camera, just with a boosted visibility. A 180 panoramic view camera is typically mounted on a wall or building exterior. Its purpose is to monitor a large open area in front of the camera. Think of locations like parking lots, warehouse loading docks, retail storefronts, school entrances, building perimeters. Instead of installing 2 or 3 cameras along a wall, a 180-degree camera can actually cover the entire field in front of it. If the camera will be mounted against the wall and looking forward, a 180 panoramic camera is often the best choice. Next slide, please. Check out some sample views captured on our cameras. Notice the minimal warping. The image you're seeing was captured on our AIBASE 5-megapixel single lens 180-degree camera. Like 90% of our cameras, it's got built-in active deterrence, red and blue strobe lights, two-way audio, AI perimeter protection, anti-loitering, and the whole AI suite. Next slide, please. This wider view is an AIBASE 4K dual lens 180-degree camera. It's ultra wide and stretches from one end of the block to the other end. It also has built-in active deterrence, two-way audio, AI perimeter protection, anti-loitering. You see the pattern here. There are a few things installers should keep in mind though. First is mounting height. Panoramic cameras work best when mounted higher than standard cameras, usually between 10 and 15 feet. This gives the camera a wider and more usable viewing angle. Second is the distance to targets. Panoramic cameras cover wide areas, but if objects are very far away, identification may be harder. That's why our AI-based panoramic cameras come in 4K, 12 megapixel, 16 megapixel, and even 32 megapixel resolutions. Next slide, please. Now, let's talk about 360-degree fisheye cameras. These cameras are usually ceiling mounted indoors. They capture the entire environment around the camera in every direction. Common examples include retail stores, lobbies, offices, classrooms, small warehouses, hotel reception areas. Instead of installing a camera in each corner of a room, a single ceiling mounted fisheye camera can monitor the entire space. The system software then dewarps the image, allowing operators to view normal perspectives. In our AIBASE lineup, we have 2 fisheyes, both in 12 megapixel, that come in 2 different price points. The key functionality differences is hardware dewarping versus digital dewarping. And the higher end fisheye supports hardware dewarping, which means the dewarping is done at the camera level. This means you can pair it with other NVRs via OnVIF. Some of my customers do this with Digital Watchdog currently, and they are also compatible with third-party systems like that. The value of fisheye does the dewarping at the NVR level, which paired with an AI-based NVR is a perfect solution. AI-based VMS handles dewarping like a charm, but not every system out there can do so. We'll demo exactly what I mean just in a moment. Next slide, please. Let's touch on some special considerations for the 360 cameras. The most important factor is ceiling height. Fisheye cameras perform best when it's mounted between 8 and 12 feet. If the ceiling is too high, objects can become too small for identification. Another consideration is room layout. If the room has many walls, partitions, or shelves, the camera's field of view may be partially blocked. In those environments, installers may prefer multiple directional cameras. Next slide, please. Multi-directional panoramic cameras are typically multi-sensor cameras with adjustable lenses. These are extremely powerful for large or complex outdoor environments. Each sensor can point into a different direction, allowing installers to cover multiple areas from one mounting location. These cameras work well in places like large parking lots, warehouses, logistic yards, intersections, train stations, stadium areas, campuses, the list goes on. Instead of installing 4 separate cameras on a pole, a multi-sensor panoramic camera can provide coverage in several directions simultaneously. This is a huge reduction in installation time, cabling, mounting, hardware, and maintenance points. AIBASE offers 2 multi-directional IP cameras, a 32 megapixel version and a 16 megapixel version. That means each sensor is either 8 megapixel or 4 megapixel, and each sensor will stream to a different channel. These are fantastic for cameras that 10 out of 10 times will win in terms of best value when compared to expensive multi-directional cameras from other brands. Now, some special considerations for multi-directional cameras. One important factor is field of view planning, so you can properly position each sensor to capture the most valuable area. Each sensor can be adjusted independently, so installers should think carefully about traffic flow, entry points, and high-risk zones. Another consideration is bandwidth and storage. Multi-sensor cameras can produce several high-resolution streams simultaneously, so installers should verify the network and recorder to handle that data load. Next slide, please. All right. Now, personally, a lot of people ask me, when will you put in a 180 camera? I actually had a client tell me that he had already did some cable runs, and he only had one camera ran out to the side of the wall. But then the client said, I needed a second camera facing the other side to capture the right side of the wall. Now, the installer didn't want to have to run another cable because obviously that's more labor, so he asked me, do you have a splitter? And the thing about the splitter is sometimes they're unreliable, or sometimes you have to run secondary power, and that's another line you have to run. With a panoramic camera, you can run a wide angle just using one cable. And that's the kind of the main point of a lot of panoramic cameras. You can see one wide angle with running just a single cable. It's very advantageous. That kind of covers a little bit. I think we want to go into a little tech demo here. Yeah, so I'll hand it over to Zach.
Yeah, so today I'll be covering our live demo portion for the fisheye camera. I'll be demonstrating both software and hardware dewarping, talking a little bit about both and the differences between them. And I'll also be covering the AI features that are offered on our Panoramic series cameras. So we'll go ahead and log into our camera here. So this is our main landing page for our fisheye camera. This is the HD hardware dewarping V2 model. So first I'll start off with a little bit about the camera and the AI features. So if we go into event settings, as you can see, unlike our other previous model, this one has been revamped and it offers a lot more AI features. So we have things such as line crossing, intrusion, enter and exit regions. We have cross counting, heat mapping, queue length, crowd density, rare sound, and obviously your motion detection. It does support smart motion detection as well, so you can select pedestrian vehicle. But that covers all of the AI portion for that. You can also, I know it was mentioned previously in our other Revenue Room episodes, where we have our webhook integration. So for, again, your third-party services, especially for your bigger projects, You can connect this to your third-party platforms using their URLs for a webhook. So anytime an event is triggered, let's say after business hours, the webhook sends out the command to the platform and they're able to get notified, or you can have it activate things such as sirens, your IP speakers, alarms, anything that supports the HTTP URL webhooks. So this camera does support that as well. And now we'll go into a little bit more about the dewarping side. So as you can see here, this is our main view, our default view, which is just a 360 image. But if we click on this fisheye logo here, by default, the camera has software decoding. So what that means is for software decoding, you can't do anything on the camera side. It does require one of our AIBASE NVRs or our AIBASE desktop VMS. With those two, you can dewarp the camera within either the software or the NVR live view. Now, the special thing about this camera is it has built-in hardware decoding. So as you can see, we can switch over the decoding mode to hardware. So we click apply. And now we have our different types of images or dewarping available. So as you can see, you can choose your installation method. So depending on how you mount your fisheye, you can choose the mode. So from top down to ceiling, if you have it mounted on a wall, or up from bottom up. It really just depends on how you have it mounted. And then here we have a few different options. So we have a VR mode, which is currently set to. We have our 180-degree panorama, our 180-degree dual channel. So what we get into here with these multiple channels is by default, or unlike common fisheyes, they're typically just one channel, one IP address, one cable. With this hardware dewarping, if we were to choose something such as this one here, a fisheye and 3 PTZ images, it'll convert the camera into 4 IP addresses. So you have 4 individually displays that you can also control manually with the PTZ options. So I'll go ahead and switch it here. Since we are changing from software to hardware decoding, it does require a device reboot. So just bear with us while this does reboot here. In the meantime, we can take any questions if needed, if anyone has any questions regarding this. But yes, while we wait for the system to reboot, it will come back with the new hardware decoded images, and I'll show you the features that are on it. So we see here the camera rebooted. We can log back in. And now, as you can see, we have 4 individual channels. As you can see here on the left side, channels 1, 2, 3, and 4. So channel 1 is our main fisheye. And then our 3 remaining channels are for our digital PTZ options. So if we open up the fisheye option here again, we can go into, let's say this view here looks good. And then on the bottom here, we have our PTZ. Again, this is just a digital. This isn't a physical lens that's moving, but it's all built into the camera. So we can move it here. It may seem a little bit laggy because we are having some internet connection issues, but you do have this option to fully digitally move your lens into any position that you want once it is mounted. And so that is one advantage of the hardware dewarping option for our AIBASE camera. And that covers the majority of this portion today, showing you the software, which requires the AIBASE VMS desktop or your NVR for AIBASE. Another thing that I wanted to mention quickly, Austin did mention it previously, but for our AIBASE, our hardware dewarping, this model specifically, you can use the hardware dewarping, split it into these multiple images, and then also add it to a third-party NVR via OnVIF. So that covers our portion of the live demo today.
Yeah, so I want to touch again on the difference between dual lens and a single lens camera. Again, the dual lens is going to be 2 cameras that are spliced together, give you that 180-degree angle. It is going to be a little bit more wider than a 180, I would say a single lens, so I kind of explain it as a widescreen movie versus a full screen movie. The widescreen being the dual lens because it is 2 cameras put together, and you kind of get a little bit more wider angle, but you kind of lose up and down because, again, you're putting those 2 cameras together. With a single lens, think of it like a full screen movie where you get a lot more top-down coverage because it's a single lens, almost like a fisheye, think of it like a half fisheye, so you still get 180-degree of angle, and then you could get a little bit more angle top down as well. So if you have a lot of, like I said, a lot of wall you want to cover, or maybe some workspaces in a warehouse, these single lens cameras are really great. If you have like a really long wall, I would suggest a dual lens, like let's say outside of a warehouse building, or maybe, let's say you're putting something on a Walmart wall where it's really long and something spacious like that. Put a dual lens camera, that way you cover that single parking lot front entrance area, like where the handicaps are or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and I do see we have a question here about a fisheye being installed using another brand, which is Ubiquiti, and it says, would you say your software is similar, same, or better? I can't say anything regarding the Ubiquiti software since we don't sell Ubiquiti, we don't have any experience with that. But I will say with our AIBASE software and with the built-in hardware decoding, it makes it very simple. Anyone can plug in this camera, go through the options, choose what they want to dewarp it to, and it makes it very user-friendly. Again, we can't comment on other brands, but based on what we have designed, it makes it very simple and very easy to use.
And to go a little build on that too, if you ever run into trouble, as long as you buy a product from us, we're here to have tech support for you guys. We offer in-house tech support, and we have technicians ready to take your call. We have a booking system if you like, and then if you run into trouble, something like that, we'll help you configure it, no problem. Any more questions here?
If there's any more questions, you can go ahead and put them in. Yeah, and then so someone says here, what systems are capable of accepting these different cameras? So all of our cameras are supported by ONVIF. Again, limitation may vary depending on what you're connecting it to, but as long as it supports ONVIF, you will have your basic live view and playback. And in terms of our panoramic cameras, such as our dual lens and our single lens 180, for example, there's no need to do like any type of image splicing or image adjustment on your other NVRs. Everything is built into the lens and built into the hardware. So when you add it onto your third-party NVR, you will have the full effect, the full 180 view. In this case with the fisheye, you'll have your full fisheye 360 view, or if you choose the hardware dewarping model, you'll have your 4 individual views to do that. So limitations-wise, again, they do support ONVIF, but you may be limited based on the system that you're installing it on, if it's not an AI-based NVR.
Yeah. And to kind of touch on that a little bit additional to that is that most of our cameras have an SD card slot. So even if you don't want to even run it on a third-party NVR or even our NVR, you can add up to 256 gigabytes an SD card inside the camera, run the camera as a PoE switch so it gets power and network, and you can add it to our AIBASE app, and you can run it standalone there. And then you have a single camera ready to use anywhere. As long as it's connected to the network, you can see it on your mobile app, you can see it on your VMS, you can even see it on our new web VMS. So a little note there, a lot of our 180 cameras have this feature where you can put a micro SD card and just run it standalone. If you have a lot of projects that want to add additional to, let's say you have a 4-channel that's already taken up, but the client wants to add one more panoramic 180 camera, slap an SD card, PoE switch, and then you got an extra camera there.
Yeah, and I see here there's another question. Are there specific NVRs for this? So for all of our AIBASE cameras, they work on all models that we carry, everything from our 4 to 256 channel NVRs. If you wanted to do software dewarping, that's when you would have to start off at a 16 channel minimum and above, which would support the software dewarping. But for hardware dewarping or any other model camera that we carry under AIBASE, they work for all channels of our NVRs that we carry.
Yeah, that's why the hardware dewarping is very special. You can put it on our 4-channel and take up all 4 channels with that one camera and just do a hardware dewarp that way. Our 8-channel, but yeah, the software dewarp does need that 16-channel just because it takes a little bit more power to do so, but it's the kind of the trade-off you take.
Yeah. And then there's another question here. Are the cameras specific to your brand of NVRs? Again, so just to mention, the cameras do support ONVIF protocol, so you can add them to your other NVRs, such as, for example, Dahua, Uniview, Hikvision, or any other brand that's out there, as long as they support ONVIF. But again, since you are mixing and matching brands, you will mostly be limited to live view and playback. You will still have audio features. If you want to add them and have the full, the full plethora of features what the camera offers, such as the active deterrence, what you can do and what we have customers currently doing is we'll give the example of a Uniview NVR. So they want to add this panoramic camera to a UniView NVR. So what you do is you put it on a switch separately. You configure all the settings through the camera IP address on the web page, or you could even do it through the mobile app. Once your camera has been configured with your AI, your deterrence and everything, you can then add your live view and playback into your third-party NVR or your UniView or DAWA, like I mentioned, whatever you're using. So the camera will act as a standalone option, but it's still recording and you have all the live view, audio, everything from the NVR side. So that is one workaround for adding it to another NVR.
Yeah. And two, like let's say you have it on a third-party system and you want to configure some AI, you can add the camera to our mobile app, and then you can configure the AI on our mobile app there through remote settings on our mobile app. So making configuration a little bit more simpler than just logging into the IP if you want to use those red and blue strobe lights, set image settings, full color, or anything like that. Kind of give you some extra tidbit there, hot tips. Yeah, and just to remind you guys, these 180 cameras aren't just a beautiful lens. It does have that active deterrence two-way audio. So it does take care of intrusion detection as well. So don't just capture the moment. You want to deter intruders from even doing any type of crime. They have built-in red and blue lights. If you don't like the red and blue lights, it even has the built-in full-color white light, and it can strobe as well if you just want to do a white strobe. And it has that two-way audio speaker, so you can do sirens or maybe play a message, say, warning, keep off, or you're under surveillance or something like that. So these are special cameras that just don't give you a beautiful lens, it gives you that active deterrence two-way audio features as well.
Yeah, so it looks like that's all our questions for today.
Yeah, thanks for joining in, guys. I really appreciate it. We do this every week at the Revenue Room. We hope to see you next week, next Friday, here at the Revenue Room. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.